Okay, it is now 5 p.m. I will call the meeting of the Waxahachie Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Please let the record show that all 7 trustees are in attendance, and this meeting has been duly called, and notice this meeting has been duly posted for time and manner required by law. First item on our agenda will be our invocation by Mr. Cooper, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance by Kyler Sherman, Samantha Delgado, and Elvin Wheaton, which are all members of our TPSA chapter officers.
All right, let us pray. Heavenly Father, most gracious Eternal God, Father, we thank you for an opportunity to serve. Father, we thank you for this community, this school district, Father, everyone who plays an integral part in this, the success of this district and our future and our children. Father, we pray that you would help reroute us for our wrongs. Father, help us keep the main thing, which are our children. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Thank God, amen.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Next item on our agenda is our open forum. This is the portion of the board meeting where the board receives input from patrons. Each person who addresses the board will have 5 minutes to speak on his or her issue. Because of posting requirements to the Open Meetings Act, board members will not ask questions of the patron nor answer any questions posed by the patron. No action can be taken on any issue presented during the patron comment section of the board meeting. Patrons addressing the board will be notified when they are approaching the last 60 seconds of their allotted time to speak. When I call your name, please step forward and state your name and address for the record, please. Pat Moriarty. Please state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is Pat Moriarty.
Mr. Pitts, to my left, your right, will be the timekeeper.
All right. I'm from 415 Mommy Road, Waxahachie. Mr. President, trustees and staff, I want to thank you in advance for giving me just a few minutes to talk about a sport that has meant so much to me in my life. And I believe that if given the opportunity, it would mean that much to many of our students in the district. And that sport is wrestling that we don't have currently. I'd like to tell you my background real quick in wrestling so you know my passion. Get rid of some misnomers about wrestling and maybe leave you with a few benefits that I see of bringing wrestling to Waxahachie. I began wrestling in the 5th grade, Ponca City, Oklahoma, which was a hotbed of wrestling at the time. Just 4 years prior to that, we had 2 of our high school graduates win Olympic gold medals in Rome in 1960, Doug Blueball and Shelby Wilson. I wrestled through junior high. I went to Tulsa Will Rogers High School, wrestled through high school, on to the University of Central Missouri State, where I was a 4-year letterman, co-captain my senior year, and I've spent 30 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex as a wrestling official for high school wrestling. Now, to get rid of some misunderstandings about wrestling, first of all, we are not to be confused with WWF. We don't jump off of turnbuckles onto our opponents. We don't smash each other with chairs. I like to think we're entertaining, but we don't choreograph the match, and we don't pick the winner in advance. We're also not to be confused with MMA. We don't put our opponents in submission holes and force them to say uncle or else break a limb. We don't choke them into unconsciousness. We have safety rules. Any effort to hurt the opponent is dealt with penalty points up to and including disqualification. We also are not a detriment to high school football. We do not have our wrestlers starve themselves down to emaciated figures. We actually engender speed, balance, footwork on the mat that can transfer to the football field, and I think Coach Tolley would approve. If there's any question about that, you could ask Creed Humphrey, the center for the Kansas City Chiefs, who is a wrestler, sings his praises, or Sean McDermott, who is the coach of the Buffalo Bills. Let's talk about a few of the benefits that I see. First of all, it's not an expensive sport. Your initial outlay would be a wrestling mat, $10,000 to $15,000, but they would last 15 to 20 years if they're taken care of. The second thing is, in our core values, we talk about choice, but I can tell you there's a lot of our students that don't feel they have the choice in a sport because they're not tall enough to play basketball or big enough to play football. Wrestling has more than half of its weight classes at 150 pounds or less, down to 106 pounds. We also have wrestling for women. My last point is this. I've been a substitute teacher in this district for 4 years, and I can tell you from my experience, we have a challenge with behavior in the classroom, to say the least. It's not just for substitutes, but it's for all teachers. It just seems like today that there are some students that don't have that influential voice in their lives to keep them on the right track. But I can tell you one voice that still holds sway.
60 seconds.
It's any name that goes by the title of coach. Students don't want to make their coaches upset. They want to comply with them. And the more kids we can reach through coaching, the better off we're going to be. There's an old saying that lessons of life can be learned from the gridiron. Same thing from the mat. Wrestling is one-on-one. You step onto the mat, it's you and your opponent. There's no hiding, there's no blaming. You are taught responsibility and accountability that can transfer to the classroom and into life. I'll leave with this. I know a coach up in Dallas that actually goes into the ISS room to find kids to wrestle, and he'll tell a kid, I understand you have a lot of energy. Let's use that energy in a positive way. Come out for wrestling, and when they do, their lives are changed forever. I thank you for your time. I hope you will consider joining our neighbors just north of us on 287 Midlothian, as well as 150 other schools in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and bring wrestling to Waxahachie. I look forward to the day that I can say Waxahachie Wrestling. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, our next item on our agenda will be our closed session according to section 551.001 et sec of the Texas Government Code. Pursuant to section 551.071 Texas Government Code, consultation with board's attorney regarding legal and procedural matters related to a level 3 parent grievance appeal. At this time, we will first move into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code section 551.071 to consult with board's legal counsel on legal and procedural matters related to the level 3 parent grievance appeal. After our consultation, we will then move on agenda item 4E under closed meeting items pursuant to section 551.074, 551.082, and 551.0821 Texas Government Code Level 3 Parent Grievance Appeal Hearing and deliberation regarding same. I note that the parent grievant in this matter has not made a written request that this appeal be heard in open session. The board will now convene into closed session. It is now 5:09 p.m. Okay, it is now 7:01. The board's going to reconvene back into open session. Our first item will be action item A, which will be consideration of possible action regarding the Level 3 parent grievance appeal. We'll have a motion.
Mr. President, I move that the board deny the Level 3 appeal of Mr. Clinton Herring's grievance and affirm the Level 2 decision.
Have a motion or a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. McCutcheon, a second by Ms. Timmerman. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, action item B will be consideration with possible action to hire the Northside Elementary principal. Ms. Burkhalter.
All right, good evening, Board. Erica Brown has served the district with distinction for many years as both a classroom teacher and assistant principal. Her deep understanding of the campus community, strong instructional background, and demonstrated leadership capacity makes her well prepared for this next step. This will be her first principalship, and she is poised to lead the campus with positivity and a student-centered focus. The superintendent's recommendation to the board is to approve Ms. Brown's hire as principal of Northside Elementary.
Any questions? Okay, this time I will entertain a motion to approve action item B as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Kriegel,
Second. second
by Mrs. Timmerman. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Ms. Brown? You have anything you want to say?
Yes, thank you. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'm very excited. I've been serving on that campus when I first started as a baby assistant principal, and now I've been the interim the last 11 days, and it's been wonderful. So thank you for trusting me with this position. I will definitely make you guys proud. I also want to say hi to my family who's watching from Houston.
If you'll hang around, we'll come take pictures with you in just a second, okay? Okay, action item C will be consideration with possible action to approve the hiring of Waxahachie High School principal.
All right. Okay, Tony Escoto brings extensive secondary experience, having served as a teacher, assistant principal, and associate principal. His leadership record reflects a strong commitment to academic excellence, campus culture, and a collaborative problem solving. He is well prepared to guide Waxahachie High School forward in a positive direction and support continued growth for students and staff. The superintendent's recommendation to the board is to approve of Mr. Escoto's hire as principal of Waxahachie High School.
Board, I need a motion to approve action item C as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Timmerman,
Second.
second by Mrs. Kriegel. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations.
All right, Ms. McCutcheon, School Board, thank you for your trust and support. Being principal at Waxahachie High School means a lot to me. Sorry. I'm truly honored to have this opportunity. And again, I want to make sure I do what's best for Waxahachie High School, our staff, our students, and the community. Thank you.
Okay, action item D will be consideration with possible action to approve the hiring of Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Leadership.
Rusty East has served Waxahachie ISD in multiple capacities, including teacher, coach, assistant principal, and as both an elementary and secondary principal. His broad experience across grade levels and proven ability to support instructional improvement uniquely positions him to mentor and guide our elementary principals. The superintendent's recommendation to the board is to approve of Mr. East's hire as Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Leadership.
Okay, board, a motion to approve action item D as presented.
Motion to approve action item D.
Motion by Mr. Pitts.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cooper. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0.
Good evening, Board. I am super excited to begin this new role. I'm super excited to work again with our elementary principals. And I just want to say how thankful I am. For the past decade, I've had people pour into me in this district, and it's prepared me for this. So I'm very excited, and I'm ready to get to work and move that academic ball forward. So thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, our next action item will be action item E, which is consideration with possible action to approve a memorandum of understanding with Texas Tech. Ms. Burkhalter?
All right, thank you. Let's see. Okay. All right, this evening I would like to share an exciting opportunity that's been presented to us by Texas Tech University. We were recently approached about joining their Tech Teach Across Texas partnership, which would allow our district to partner with Texas Tech to recruit, develop, and train new teachers through 3 distinct pathways. The first pathway is the Tech Teach Across Texas 2+2, which is a traditional 4-year teacher preparation program. The second is Tech Teach 2+1, a fast track option. Both of these pathways use district-embedded cohorts, meaning students complete their coursework online while receiving in-person support from a site coordinator right here in our classrooms. This model truly allows us to grow our own teachers. We already have stipends approved for up to 6 intern or clinical teachers, which will help support these students as they work towards certification. The third pathway is Raider Teach, an alternative certification program. This option is ideal for our paraprofessional staff who already hold bachelor's degrees but have not yet earned teacher certification. Through Raider Teach, candidates complete their certification coursework online and also earn credit towards a master's degree. We're also pleased to have Catherine Southard with us here this evening. Catherine is our site coordinator and Texas Teach liaison. She's a member of the Texas Tech facility and will play a key role in recruiting and supporting our staff and students as they move through these innovative programs. While we have all of this information about the program, we would like 1 additional month to work out the MOU to make sure it's exactly right for both us and Texas Tech. So while we've presented this as information, we're recommending that you not take action this evening.
Okay, based on your recommendation, we will not take any action on action item E.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to action item F, will be consideration with possible action to approve the Clift Elementary Campus Support Plan.
Okay. Board, we are asking to pull this item from the agenda for more discussion. And not take action on this item this evening.
I'm sorry,
We're asking to not take action on.
you want to pull this one as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so no action will be taken on action item F. Moving on to action item G, consideration with possible action to approve proposed addition to the district's library material catalog.
Good evening, trustees and Ms. McCutcheon. With Senate Bill 13 came a new process for acquiring our library materials. And so this is the first time that we have undergone this process. The legal responsibility is now with the Board of Trustees for the procurement and acquisition of all library materials. The board will need to vote on the proposed additions to our catalog after receiving the recommendations from the local school library advisory council, which those recommendations are in your board packet. It is a rather lengthy list of book titles that we are proposing to add to our collection. This process started with the district librarians cultivating their list that they would like to add to their collections. That list was submitted to me, and then I posted it on the district website for the required 30 days by Senate Bill 13. We sent out a notification to parents through Parent Square and on social media that the 30-day posting was occurring in order to elicit responses from our community. We did get a few back from a couple community members, and so when the SLAC, that's that School Library Advisory Council, met, we met first on October 15th to consider what our process was going to look like for reviewing these titles. And then we met again on November 12th to look at the feedback from the community that we received from the posting, and then also any other concerns that members found while they were reviewing the titles. It was very popular to put those titles into AI and see what it kicked back, and so that's really the list that we worked through. Anything that AI flagged, we as a committee were then able to work through that. And AI will flag all sorts of interesting things, and most of them are not really serious. But we did take a look at those, and that was the approach that the committee decided to take, was to listen to community feedback as well as run those through an AI. So now the SLAC is presenting a list of recommendations to you tonight for additions to the catalog. So I would ask that based on the SLAC recommendations that you approve the list of books to be ordered for our district collections.
So I do have one question.
Sure.
What is the procedure if a book actually makes it on our shelf that someone brings to our attention that needs to be removed? How do we go about removing that or flagging that?
Right, so it's very much like the procedure was before that we already had in place. On our website, there is a form that a parent can fill out that says, you know, this is the material that I'm objecting to, I would like it to be reviewed, and that is then submitted to the SLAC committee. And the SLAC committee, then we will meet on that and decide whether to keep that book on our shelves or if it's something that we need to remove from our shelves. Yeah, we still have a very strong process in place for that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve action item G as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McCutcheon,
Second.
second by Mrs. Timmerman. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Ms. Moore. Our last action item will be consideration with possible action to approve Waxahachie Creek High School mascot and colors.
Good evening, Board and Ms. McCutcheon. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and speak tonight and talk a little bit more about our Creek High School proposed mascot and colors. Most of what you'll see this evening is a repeat, just a refresher of what Cody from Pixel, also known as VLK, our architect firm, this is an offshoot of them, presented last month, so just a refresher. So if you'll remember, we did start with a community forum back in November of last year. We held 3 consecutive nights of community feedback with over 180 individuals from our community participating in that. And then we picked back up this fall after we had some time off due to scheduling conflicts and just a couple staffing changes here in the district. And then we held 2 additional branding meetings. If you'll bear with me, we'll talk a little bit more in depth about those. So during the community forum last fall, on those 3 consecutive nights, they did a really broad overview of these are what our quote-unquote competitors look like right now. We looked at what colors are prevalent, what mascots do we see, what do we like and what do we not like in some of those other competitive analysis facts and figures that were shown. So during that time when we were looking about what do we like, what do we not like, what does our community actually want to see, they said that some of the things that they wanted to ensure stayed here in Waxahachie with our new high school were that we honored our heritage, that it was something in nature, that it was Texas themed, and they loved alliteration, something that either started with a W to alliterate with Waxahachie Creek or something that started with that C to have the creek alliteration, right? We also did a deep dive into what are our current colors and how does that affect us as we move forward. So if you'll remember, I believe it was not last summer but the summer before, we did identify a distinctive Waxahachie ISD district color, so that's that lighter Kelly green color, and we always pair that with white. And then Waxahachie High School, our current high school, of course, is the hunter green and white. And what did we want for Creek? Overwhelmingly, the response from our community was that they wanted to maintain some kind of green. At that time, they really weren't able to articulate if they wanted it to be the Kelly green or the hunter green, but they wanted to see green in that vein, and that was an overwhelming response. Also, at that initial community forum, they took literally hundreds of ideas from our community on what did they want to see as mascots. And some of them were rather frivolous or ridiculous, however you might want to say it, or very lighthearted, and some were definitely more in line with what they had already established that they wanted to see. So these were the top 9 that came out of that meeting.
And these were the top 5 color combinations that from that widespread catching a net with almost 200 community members, these were the things that they said that they wanted to see and that they wanted to explore more deeply. So that led us to the meetings this fall, our meeting number 1 and then meeting number 2. So at meeting number 1, we took those color typologies, I say we, Cody with VLK or Pixel took those color typologies and she kind of put it together. This is what your uniforms potentially could look like. One thing that we did have to take into consideration when colors were an option is that not every uniform is going to be easily accessible for us, nor is it going to be, some uniforms would be cost prohibitive based on the color options that were stated. So we did take that into consideration, and then she had these boards available for us to view. And then once more on the mascots. So you'll remember we had 9 on the previous slide. The only one that did not make this slide due to kind of a repetitive nature was actual Indians. You'll see that we have Seminoles and Warriors listed on here, so she did not bring Indians because it was replicated twice over there. So these were the actual boards that were present. So you can see that you have not only the actual animal or individual that would be on the slide, but then also what it would look like as a mock-up, as a drawing. So as we went through the discussion with that smaller group, we invited, I believe, 65 community members, staff, and students. And when we looked at the students, we did ensure that the students that we invited to the meeting would be students that would be attending Creek High School whenever, or have the option to attend Creek High School whenever their time came. So VLK passed out 4 stickers to each individual that came to these meetings, and they said, you have the opportunity to have a weighted vote. So based off of those 9 mascot options that they brought forward to us, because they did say Indians, they had just a board for Indians, but based on those 9, they said you can go through and you can put 1 sticker, you can put all 4 stickers, but go ahead and choose your favorite option for a mascot, and then you could have a weighted vote. And then they did the very same thing with the colors. So if you'll notice, the top 3, we had Bison, the Rattlers / Copperheads, and then the Seminoles. Those were the top 3 that were voted on by our community at that meeting number 1. And you notice it's Rattlers / Copperheads. There was some discussion back and forth at that meeting, and there was a student that actually brought forth the idea, instead of using Rattlers, they didn't like that, they liked the alliteration. So they said, what about Copperheads? And I believe that also Water Moccasins was thrown out at that time, but as a group, collaboratively, they came together and they said that they really liked Copperheads, and then that's where that came in. So you notice those top 3, Bison, Copperheads, and then Seminoles. And then same thing with the colors. We had the light blue and the darker Hatchie green, and then the bright blue with the lighter Waxahachie ISD green. And then the gold actually came in 3rd place pretty strong. As we continued to discuss more about the gold, one thing that became very clear to us is that gold is a very inconsistent color whenever you're looking at branding. So you might say gold to someone and it might be a bright yellow t-shirt. You might say gold to someone and it'll be actual gold sparkles, or you might say gold and it'll be kind of like the color on the screen that's a little bit dusty. So people wanted to be able to have specific brand identity with Waxahachie Creek High School. That was something that we continued to hear over and over, was that it was important that we didn't make Creek kind of a feeder school, that it needed to have its own identity and its own uniqueness. And so they kind of said, well, you know what, if we can't develop a brand identity with gold being so wishy-washy, then let's get colors that you can have a little more specific. So all of that information they took back, and then they drafted examples in every colorway, in every color combination. So that's what you're gonna see. So those were the 4, so right, we talked about Bison, Rattlers / Copperheads, and then Seminoles. Those were the 3/4 main mascots that they came back with, and those were the 3 colorways that they came back with. At that point, you notice that this looks very similar on the screen over. So those 3 top colorways, they gave examples of each of the mascots and potentially what it could look like. Everything that you're seeing on the screen is just a mock-up. It is just a prototype. None of this is finalized. So they were showing, these are some things that we can do with font styles. These are some things that we can do with, for instance, the horns coming out of the C and the K in Creek, or the way that the copperhead wraps through the C. They were showing different ways that you could incorporate your mascot into your logo or into your brand. And so the reason that you'll see this replicated over and over is because they wanted to have the community to have the option to see what does it look like in that color? What does it look like in that font? And then we, once more, did the sticker voting. So everybody got their 4 stickers, and they got to go around and give their weighted vote around the room. Lots of discussion, lots of sometimes heated discussion, but then votes came out after they saw what it would look like with our logo, and overwhelmingly, the bright blue and Kelly green won out. So if you notice, that is a staggering number. Now, I know that there has been some worry. We have a high school that has blue. One thing that I wanted to be able to show you is the difference in the colors. So you'll notice that our district green, the Waxahachie ISD green, and it looks a little odd on the screens, I do want to point that out, so just make sure that you're looking at your computer screen because it's more true to the colors on your actual computer screen in front of you. So the Waxahachie ISD green is at the top, our Waxahachie High School green, Hunter green is on the left, the global blue and the global gray are there on your right, and then what the community forum and the community mascot committee is proposing is there at the bottom. So what that looks like in the way of the 2 mascots that they wanted to move forward with. Waxahachie Creek High School Bison or Thunder. The reason you have 2 different mascot names on that is because there was some discussion on if we wanted to have Lady Bison, did we just want to have a bison as a figurehead, but actually refer to students and sports and players as Thunder or the Thunder. So that's why you have those 2 there. And then the other option was the Creek Copperheads or the Waxahachie Creek Copperheads. In both of these, I want to reiterate one more time, both of these are 100% prototypes. They're just mock-ups. Nothing is finalized in either of these options. And if you notice on, let's say, the top right, the WCH Bison, CHS Bison, you notice that there's some white in there that was not there the first time. They said they wanted to see some separation of the colors and make it pop a little bit more, so they were able to go back and just quickly add that in. And there are other things that we will definitely work through. But there is the bison, and there's the Creek Copperheads. Also with the fonts, I'm gonna go back here, I'm sorry. So if you look at this, there's multiple fonts, there's multiple, just the C or WCHS or CHS, any of those. We essentially, when we work with Pixel, when we worked with VLK, they will finalize what it is, what font types we want to utilize, and then we get the entire package for every single item that we choose within our colorway and within our mascot. Are there any questions that I could answer?
In the discussion with Bison and Thunder, how did that play out? Or what was the reasoning behind the 2 different options there?
Yeah, so there was several community members that were vocal about that they didn't want our students to be referred to as bison. There was one train of thought or one line of thinking that was, female bison would be considered a cow without having babies would then be considered a heifer, and they didn't want our female students to be referred to as heifers. So there was that line of thinking. And then also some people said, well, bison is not really what people think of when they think of Waxahachie. They think of Buffalo Creek. But as we know, the research has been done and people have talked about that buffalo weren't indigenous to this area. And so they said, well, buffalo and bison look pretty similar, so what if we just kind of put it up there and then go with Thunder instead of focusing on bison, but bison is still there. And then, really and truly, it was mostly those 2 thoughts.
Are there other districts that have thunder? I've never heard of that.
I am unaware. I know that people did a quick Google search on bison, and if I'm remembering correctly, and I may not be 100% on this, but if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like there were something like 9 school districts in the state of Texas that had bison or buffalo, and there was only 1 that had copperhead. And I don't know about thunder. I don't know if we researched that one.
There is a collegiate team that's called
The Thundering Herd.
Thundering Herd. Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
So are you going to make a recommendation, or we're going to have to come up with it ourselves?
So here's the fun part. So the community committee would like to recommend that we move forward with the colors, that the board chooses to move forward with the colors being the primary color of the royal blue and secondary color of Kelly green. And we would recommend that you all make a selection between the bison and the copperheads as our mascot.
I'm scared to ask this question, but is there any other discussion?
Very seldom do I get stopped in stores, but the resounding thought from the community that I received was no to snakes.
Was there anyone else? Well, there's got to be somebody. Okay. Well, I'm going to call for a motion for action item H as presented to, what were the two names of the colors?
Royal blue and Kelly green.
Royal blue and Kelly green, and the bison as the mascot for Waxahachie Creek High School.
Oh, so are we voting on one swoop or are we separating?
One swoop, if we could come to an agreement.
So we're asking.
I'm asking for a motion, yes, ma'am.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mrs. Timmerman,
Second.
second by Mr. McCutcheon. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, moving on to our report section. Report A, our superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Board. So my report for tonight, just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what our enrollment and our attendance looks like. You can see as of November 21st, which was the Friday before our Thanksgiving holiday, enrollment was at 11,164. Attendance, however, was at 95.55%. So we're pleased with our attendance rate. We would, of course, like that to still remain in the 96%, but that is higher than we were last year. Okay. Also, at this time, just want to send a congratulations out to our Waxahachie Indian football team. They were the 6A Division I regional finalists. And of course, for this team to be that successful, a lot of folks had to pour into them. And so also just want to congratulate the band and the cheer and the student trainers and the charmers and all the work that goes into that, to all those departments and those student activities. And also a lot of volunteers that help all those organizations, including this football team, be successful. So you can see Coach Tollison there being very happy in the middle. So congratulations to them. A little bit of conversation about our coffee chat with superintendent. So we did open that to the community. Didn't have a whole lot of participants, but it was nice to meet some new people. And our plan with working with PR is plan to continue that and have a couple more of those during the spring semester and see, just visit with the community. Thank you to Mr. McCutcheon for joining us. Also, a couple of different cabinet members and central office folks attended the Chamber Partnership Appreciation event last week, and so that was really nice. They were celebrating all of the great partnerships that we have with them, so that was nice to be there. And 12 Days of Hatchie. So this has been really successful. You'll see there even Patches came by to help us one day draw, so that was fun. But just so many people have worked hard to make this successful, including our PR team. Board members, I know a lot of you have stepped in and helped in various ways, and so appreciate you doing that as well. community businesses. Our education foundation has been amazing. And then, we will continue these on Facebook Live, so we have a couple more days of that. And so anybody that wants to show up and help draw names, you're very welcome to. And lastly, we have a Christmas party planned. Would like to invite everyone to attend, and that is Friday the 19th from 3:30 to 5:30. We will host that at the Waxahachie High School Indoor Activity Center. And so this is for staff and their families. They're all welcome. And our PR team has worked really hard to put this together as well. We'll have snacks, coffee, hot cocoa, pictures with Santa, kid activities, and so that's going to be a great time, and we hope that you can attend. And I think that's everything I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Anything from Ms. McCutcheon?
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're going to report B, our informational bond 2023 construction update. Mr. Mott?
Good evening, Board. Ms. McCutcheon, I'm going to give you the December construction update. So Coleman Track and Field, they did start today. That field does have the sod put on it today. They did do that. They'll start doing the sod around the field, outside the field areas and all that, but they did lay the sod starting today. As you can see there, the asphalt base has been laid. It is due to finish curing, I believe it's Thursday is the final day for the curing. It has a 28-day, can't touch it or anything for 28 days no matter what. Not 27, not 29, but 28 days. It has to do it. Due to being around Christmas and all that, they're hard to get crews here that time, so they're going to be here the first part of January to lay the track surface and all that and finalize that job up in January. Waxahachie Creek. So we have poured the first part of a second floor, so section A2. That is a pretty big milestone in a building like this, is because you cannot start framing buildings and all that until you start pouring second floors. So now that we're starting to pour second floors, we're going to be doing that often. We're pouring Friday, you can see we're pouring section A1, so we'll have one full section poured by the end of the week. We've got some starting to be scheduled. We'll start pouring a lot of sections throughout. It is a long process to pour a second floor because this is not easy. You can't just put a pump truck and pour straight down. You're going through the side and dragging hose around. It's a longer process to pour a lot less concrete. It takes us, we poured about 200 yards on A2 and it took them about 12 hours, and we were pouring 550 yards in 12 hours. So it's a big difference when we do it in that. You'll start to see framing start to go up in January, and then you'll start to see roof coming in late January, at the latest, maybe early February. They'll start putting roofs, and as fast as they can put the framing up, then they'll start the roofing. They can't do it because some of it will have to convert over. And then we'll start to hook up the main water line. The city has completed their main water line across our property. They're working up, and looks like they may be tying in tomorrow or Wednesday. They're the big line on 77, and then they'll do all their testing and all that. Looks like they're telling us that they'll probably turn that water line over to us in January, so then we can connect the school to the water line, and then we'll have full water out there and all that. Here's your picture of the sites. You can see there's that one parking lot you see right there in the middle of it. That's your big student parking lot area. It is 90% complete. The areas we have not completed are where we had the easement for Encore and for Atmos to come through. So we did not pour that, so they can come through and we can put in all those lines there for that, those kind of things. Here's an area here that you can see. This picture was actually taken Friday morning. You can see the pump truck on the top left of that building there. We're pouring that section in the back, closest to the other, not the outside, but the inside of that one section there on the left. And then we'll pour the rest, and we'll start coming right down through area A3, B, and C. We'll just start working our way through there. You can see we have moved the crane to the back. See a picture here? So the crane got moved to the back, and that is back in the fine arts area because it is that structure. Those beams you see, those columns you see there are 72 or 73 feet tall, one-piece column. So they're hanging those, so then we can start doing, there's a lot of cinder block and those kind of things that go back there. So they're trying to get that up so we can start that because there is so much block in that area, in that back area there. There's another picture of just the site overall. You can just kind of look through there. We have started working on the baseball field dugout, base work. The football field house has been, the grade beams are all poured for it. Softball field is working at the same time. We're working on those fields back there just to get the dugout bases, the backstop bases, those kind of things like that. Those kind of things, all concrete beams and all that poured. Any questions for me on anything? We will be doing some Prop Cs, and just so you know, if anybody does see, there will be a crane at Felty over this weekend, actually. We are gonna be removing the last final pieces of the geothermal system and replacing the makeup air units there that we needed. That's the last piece. So we'll be bringing them out, one unit out Saturday and one unit out Sunday, and then putting them right back in on Saturday and one unit back on Sunday. So if anybody sees a crane there, that's what's going on.
As far as scheduling, we still on schedule for completion?
Yes, actually, I hate to say it this way, but we are a little ahead. We were a lot further ahead. Not that we've lost it due to weather, we just lost it due to some material, because we had asked for material to come in early. When you start doing that, you catch up. It's going to catch you eventually. We've caught up a little bit. They're still bringing in material early. We are early though, yes.
Yep.
But weather's the only thing that's affected us so far is windy days affect us. They would affect us anyway because we got to shut the crane down. And we've had quite a few of those recently. It's a little too windy to fly.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. All right, report C will be instructional materials adoptive process for 6 through 12 math resources to be adopted in the 2026-2027 school year.
Good evening, Board and Ms. McCutcheon. Thank you so much for your time. I'm excited to get to speak about one of my passions in life, which is curriculum and instruction, but we will be brief. So historically, the state has issued proclamations when it's time to get new curriculum. And we've rotated through different content areas. About every 8+ years, you get to get new materials to teach from. And that system hasn't quite kept up with what happens in curriculum and the knowledge that we have around instruction. And so recently the state went to an IMRA cycle, which is Instructional Materials Review and Approval. And this cycle is a little bit different. They'll lay out content areas that are approved, high-quality instructional materials, and those materials are looked at and put on a list, and then every year, more materials that are high quality are added to that list for those content areas. And currently, the state has approved content materials primarily for reading and math, with more to come throughout these future cycles. And so we're super excited about having this robust list of materials to select from. It allows some flexibility for districts to meet needs as they arise, and we have these great modern materials to select from. And we're in this great, exciting time of year where we are deep in our current curriculum and instruction model, but yet we are looking to the future of what's to come. And so that's a fun place to be balancing. And Ms. Bev Malky, our wonderful secondary math curriculum coordinator, is going to update you on our progress with our current IMRA cycle.
Good evening. I just wanted to update you guys on the progress of our current search in looking at math materials for grades 6 through 12. The last adoption for us was in 2014 and 2015. So we're working on some materials that are pretty old. And with House Bill 1605 and the high quality instructional materials that we need to research and look at what the state has approved that's available for us that will keep us in compliance with that. Even though our math TEKS have not changed over this time, the last set of math TEKS that we have were approved in 2012 and then were implemented in 2014 and 2015. However, a lot of other things have changed. Like we need updated strategies and practices for our instruction, for our teachers, to align with our K through 5 math new materials that we're using now. Also updated digital experiences and alignment to the new assessment types for STAR. So those are some of the things that we're looking at. This is just a basic timeline of what we've been doing. We started this process looking at math resources last spring. This was an opportunity offered to any secondary math teacher. I wanted as many voices and as many people that were interested in participating in this process to join us. So we've had several
meetings and opportunities for them to look at some of these materials. We started with the 2024 EMRA list. In November, right before Thanksgiving, the 2025 EMRA list was added or was approved, which added some more materials for us to look at. So this is our basic timeline. We're looking at in February and March to have the teachers actually teach some sample lessons from some of these approved materials after we narrow it down. We also plan to have a public review of some of those. And then we hope that by March we can come back and recommend for you guys to approve our selections. And then, of course, EMAT approval hopefully by April so that we can get materials ordered to implement in the school year next year. This is just a list of, or a kind of a visual of the different products that are on the state-approved list. Some of those might look familiar. The ones that are outlined in bold black are the ones that have materials that are approved by the state for grades 6 through 8, as well as Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. And so those are ones we're really taking a hard look at because for me, I think it's important for vertical alignment. If we could find a product that carries us all the way through, that would be in our best interest. But we are looking at all the state-approved resources, and currently all of the secondary math teachers have access digitally to all of these so that they can be reviewing them. Some also we have hard copies of some that were available, but digitally they have access to all of the ones that are currently approved by the state to begin looking at. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Questions? Comments? You ladies are off the hook. Thank you. The next item on the board is informational items A, B, C, and D. They're included in your packet for you to review on your own. That will move us right into our consent agenda, which we have a relatively short one tonight, probably the shortest one I've ever seen. Consent agenda items A, B, and C up for consideration.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the consent agenda items A, B, and C.
A motion by Mr. McCutcheon. Second by Mr. Cooper. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. And our last item would be a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Kriegel. Second by Mr. Cooper. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much.